Hello and welcome back to another week of news. There's not a ton going on in NA that's new, but we are of course gearing up for a big new patch in about 2 weeks, so be careful with how you're spending your stuff now. In addition to that, KR also got a new patch very recently, and there's a whole bunch of new stuff there that we have to look forward to in about 2 months or so. I do want to cover some of it today, so that way you have an idea of what to look forward to, so you can plan accordingly, but we're not going to go over everything in detail. But with all that being said, let's get into it. Starting us off on the NA side of things, there were only 2 mentions in the news category this week. The first being just a warning saying that there were people who were intentionally resetting bosses and telling people to not do that because ruining other players' experiences intentionally is against TOS. Now, it's super hard to prove this kind of stuff, but they do encourage you to report this kind of behavior if you see it. I will say that you do want to make sure that you're careful about how you go about reporting these things. There are times where people might accidentally do something and it might troll your experience a little bit, sure, but it's not intentional per se. The idea of actually deciding intent versus not intent is really problematic in these spaces, so I feel like this was more just something they put out to let people know, like, hey, we're looking at this and you can always report it, even though I highly doubt a lot of things would be done about this one way or the other unless there were like really clear-cut cases with video footage, pictures, etc. And secondly, we have a new box coming out with new aesthetics, costumes, accessory, equipment things, and whatnot. It's really interesting because this is just another RNG box like we've seen be a little bit more standard now. This box does give you a guarantee to be able to get the costume that you want for the low price of 27,500 gems. Yes, that's right. If you want to spend a cool $275 worth of N coin, just putting it into Divine Gems, and then buying all these boxes and going straight to pity with the coin system that they have built into these boxes, that's how much it's going to cost you for the costume that you want. Otherwise, you either hope to get lucky, or you might want one of the other costumes that you would get at random, assumingly a bit easier out of this. Now, each box is 500 Divine Gems, which means each try is going to cost you about $5, and that seems a bit too rich for my blood. To be fair, anything's too rich for my blood when it comes to costumes, but I know some people do like these kinds of things, and the aesthetic is one that a lot of people might enjoy, so there is that. That being said, I haven't seen too many positive sentiments about it. I personally hate this RNG style of costuming, and I'm sure a lot of other people have issues with it too, so let me know what you think. And finally, we get to the KR patch that came out this week. All of that comes with not only a new class, but a whole lot of other new cool things. Like I said, I'm not going to go into big detail on this. There will be some images scrolling up on the side, but it's not going to be anything like super concrete. Basically, to go over some major points of interest, of course, there is the new class that just released in Neo. It's the Spear class. I'm not sure exactly what the official title is once it's translated to English. Apparently, it's not Spear per se, but it's a Spear class. It's a high damage melee class that's supposed to be, I don't know, really edgy. That's all I can say from what I've seen. I haven't been able to really look up too much into it. With the new class release, however, there are some interesting things going on. There is going to be a free one-time per account exchange ticket that you can have to class swap. You can buy more class swap tokens for a large amount of Divine Gems. It's like 50,000 or something like that. But basically the idea is when you buy these tickets, you're going to be able to take one character that you have and it'll let you swap their race, class, and appearance, as well as exchange 6 accessories, 1 weapon, 18 martial tomes, 2 mystic badges, and 1 soul badge into the equivalence of whatever it is that you gave that exchange for the next class that you're trying to change into. So if you have, say, 6 legendary books and a bunch of purples, you're going to be able to change all of those from one class into the other class's 6 legendaries and purples, for which you are going to be able to select what books you want, select all the stuff that you want to get from that. Keep in mind that, at least for the books and things, these will all be bound. So if you have tradable books and then you want to do the class swap, they will all be changed to bound versions for the next class in order to prevent abuse from people just getting a whole bunch of all the best skills and then selling them off on market to make a quick coin or something like that. Any like legendary weapons or accessories will be translated over to equivalent weapons accessories of the same kind, purples as well. It just all gets moved over one to one. I actually think this is really cool because it lets you not only immediately swap classes while keeping your character's progression, but it also lets you see one to one how good one class is versus another once you've swapped books and accessories and all that stuff, because you get the exact replicas of the gear you had just for the new class. So I think it's going to be really interesting for people to see how different the classes are and just see exactly one-to-one, like, oh, at this point in my progression, this class was actually weaker or not compared to the other one. Now, of course, there's some other new things besides the new class and class swap voucher in KR. Now, remember that this is all coming in about 2 to 3 months for us here in NA, but it is something that I find relevant for planning, so that's why we're going over it briefly now. Once this comes closer, we'll go over it more in depth. Basically, there's new tiers of legendary books. It's awakened legendary books, and they're way harder to get than the basic legendary books that we have now. There's also going to be large EXP increases, as well as a way to get new shiny cards for your card sets. There's going to be like holographic foil cards that you can get now that will also have added effects like increasing your combat EXP. There's going to be new items to help you upgrade your current equipment for less cost, as well as a Mantra Hammer Stone. In the same way that Live had the little stone sockets and you could open them up with the little hammers, they have now moved that here for the Mantra slots. So if you have an equipment that you really like, but it doesn't have Mantra slots, or maybe it's 2 slot instead of 3, you're going to be able to open up that all the way. There's also going to be an additional Mantra slot added to all accessories and weapons, so instead of 3 being the max, it's now going to be 4, and you're going to have to use those stones in order to unlock all of those Mantra slots for yourself. So just more stuff to grind for, to get you more stats, to get you more etc, 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 power creep, blah, blah, blah. Now, with this new class and all these new things, there's also a new region, new soul badges, new mystic badges. It's going to be an entire new experience, just like how Silverfrost was. To give an idea of what the power creep is here for this, the minimum soul force required, or at least wanted for the new purple dungeons in the new area, is 26,220. That means if you're sitting at some like golden supreme force right now, congratulations, you hit the minimum requirements for the new area's purple dungeons. Now, of course, everyone who's still super far behind that is going to have a lot to do to catch up, but of course, by the time that we do get these upgrades and these updates, there will be easier ways for you to upgrade your accessories and weapons and so on, so I don't expect anyone to be that far behind compared to where they are now. The last thing to go over, as I just wanted to quickly display it, there is going to be a new like card book, if you would, coming as well. So if you have a whole bunch of extra cards laying around, instead of trying to mass fuse them within the next week or two, maybe hold off to see when we get this update. This card book is basically just another version of the gallery that we already have, but it slots in to just give you extra stats instead of the extra like tenacity bonuses and smite bonuses and that kind of stuff, where you have to swap them and manage a certain amount in a certain set. It's just going to be a straight up collection book, just like how Live has. There's going to be a large number of stats that you can get from this. It's basically like your exploration journal already, but just for cards. So maybe keep a whole lot of cards lying around, so that way when this opens up, you can get a whole bunch of stats really quickly, and you don't have to like search for that one awkward card slot that you like accidentally merged, but you didn't need to, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Remember, this was meant to be a brief overview of the KR stuff, as well as just a quick update on the NA news. There's not much here in NA, of course. There is a bestie bundle in this video, but there is no giveaway. We already finished the giveaways for this last month of November. Still waiting on December codes, so play along if you want, but there's nothing really to give away this time, just for fun. Anyways, that's going to be me signing off, and I'll catch you next time. Good luck, and peace.